Before you watch the video, we kindly ask that you hit the like button. It costs you nothing, helps us a lot. On to the show. Super duty tough work. Your boys back in the kitchen, cooking up episodes. Been going for a few weeks. Lots of stuff was going on. If y'all follow us on the social medias, you know why we ain't been here for a minute. Busy living life.
Yeah.
Busy being artists.
Yep.
Celebrating 20 years of our creations.
Yes.
We've been on the streets passing out flyers to the people. Some of y'all seen us. Some of y'all had a flyer put in your hand. You know what it is. The shit we talk about on this podcast, we be doing it in real life.
Yeah, we do.
We be living it. Unlike these other rappers out here, you know what I'm saying? They don't know nothing about this here. This is real. They be talking about DIY this, indie that. They ain't never passed out no flyers.
No hand-to-hand distro.
Nah, they be talking that shit from the studio, streaming. They don't be out with the people talking that DIY shit. The people know us, man. They know us. They seen us. They shake our hands. They know we real people. When we put something in their hand, when we talk to them about our show, got you, Print. Got you, Illogic. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Techniques that never go old. Techniques that are bigger than the algorithm. The algorithm can't stop the flyer game.
Facts.
Can't stop it. Can't stop you. Oh, you got a stack of fucking flyers you posted up outside that show? Well, algorithm going to stop you.
Mm-hmm. See, we update our formula. You know what I mean? We flipping and bouncing on them. You know what I mean?
We have formulas. We just update them for the times. And then sometimes we reach back and grab old formulas. You know?
Yeah.
So, we here. We've been living life. Illogic had his 20-year anniversary of Celestial Clockwork last week. It was a dope event. I was in the front row the whole time. I
think that's the first show of mine you ever been in the front row the whole time.
That's true. That's true. That's true. It was a special occasion. Special occasion the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't go pee. I didn't go get no water. Hour and a half. I was right for dead center. Wasn't nobody in front of me neither.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta hear this. Young Lux be saying, I need to hear this. But yeah, November 8th, we'll be doing the Chamber Music 2 album release party in Columbus, Ohio. For those of you who live in Ohio, come check us out. The Chamber Music 2 event is part of Illogic's Vibe Society monthly beat night. And, I'm doing an album release show there and playing some beats, maybe kick a rhyme or two. Come through, all ages, 8 p.m. doors, 9 p.m. show starts. It's going to be ran on time, folks.
Mm-hmm.
We ran on time. Don't be fucking late. I'll be there selling merch, shaking hands, kissing babies. I hope y'all can make it out.
It's free.
It's free. Free for the people. So there's no excuse if you missed the Falling Down album release. This one's for you. Me and Illogic is out here in these streets right now. We're getting active. If you noticed, your bands and them
doing things
getting done, And so this episode this week is kind of a follow-up of something that I discovered due to what we did on the last episode about too much data.
Mm.
And so over the last 2-3 weeks, I haven't really got to make no beats. I haven't really got to do much of nothing but just like admin shit. But I've been working diligently on consolidating all of my data into one laptop. And I'm going to tell you, it was a lot of shit. A lot of shit. I had 2 MacBooks. I'm sorry. I had 2 iMacs. 1 MacBook Pro. 1 HP laptop. And then I've got this machine, which is Windows desktop. This one I ain't tripping on too much because it's just podcast stuff on it. But all the other stuff, I consolidated that into one machine. And what it really made me come to the conclusion of is that I've had a lot of good ideas that never got off the fucking ground. Because all of a sudden, all this shit is at my fingertips. T-shirt designs. Whatever happened to that design? Oh, shit. It's right here. Buried deep in the file structure. So many ideas. I have notepads full of ideas. None of this stuff was ever together. And it made me think, how do good ideas die? Why do they die? Why is it that you can have a great ass idea and the shit never be executed?
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time, I literally have every fucking idea I've had in the last 10, 15 years on one machine in a file structure that's organized. So I'm done with the thing. So it's time to get back to doing music and, you know, creating and using it. And it's already helped me tremendously, you know. But it made me think that I can't be the only person going through this. And I didn't even know. Because sometimes you have good ideas and because it never comes to fruition, you just move on to the next idea.
Yeah. You get sidetracked, you forget about it, you know.
Forget about it. Whatever happened to that? Then something happens. Somebody says something, you see something, you're like, oh man, I had an idea. What happened to that? You know, then you go back, you got to dig. And for me, shit being scattered, not as organized, going through this really made me see that. And it made me think of other reasons why good ideas never come to fruition. And that's what this episode is about. So we got like 8 bullet points. We're going to run through, smack y'all in the head with these. Some of y'all going to catch some strays this week. It's going to be some shit that you're going to have to deal with. Bullet points and such. As many of these apply to me.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I caught a couple strays when I got the email.
yeah.
Had to dodge a couple, you know, had the matrix on them, you know.
Right. Yeah, they there. They coming, man. So Agent Smith is in this itinerary for today's show, man. He popping out on y'all with many bullet points. And so we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
All right.
We got you stuck off the realness, the most infamous, you heard of us. Official podcast murderers, the show comes equipped with viewpoints to share. Grown man ideas for all those who care and want to grow, so go ahead and download. Every single week with a brand new episode. You're not alone in this world, cousin, so we share information and honest discussion and keep repping the culture like we supposed to. They spread gossip, but they never come close to. I can hear it inside their tone. They talk about the industry but never left their home. You get laced up with bullet points and such, plus empowering topics that they never would touch. You can put your whole network against the team, but Super Duty Tough Work's the MVP. Most valuable podcast on MP3. Priceless info, but all of it's free. So take these words home and think them through. Super Duty Tough Work is coming at you. You are now listening to Super Duty Tough Work with your host, Blueprint. Raw and uncut. Adult conversations. No shucking, no jiving, and no bullshit.
All right, folks, we back. Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint, Illogic. This week we are talking about good ideas. Why they never come to fruition. Why they're never executed. Why they die. We're going to start with the number 1 bullet point for this week's episode, which is the one that smacked me in the face the last 2 weeks. The number 1 reason is because you're not tracking them. Some people, smart people, really organized people, understand that every idea they come up with has a value. And while we do believe that ideas are infinite, we're creative people, we can always come up with more stuff. If we're not tracking the ideas we have, they will never be executed. Meaning, are we writing them down? Do we have a central place where we keep them? How easy is it for us to revisit those ideas, right? But it starts with tracking them, because you can't revisit anything that you haven't tracked. This exercise in the last few weeks has made me see that I was not tracking my ideas properly. I have so many more ideas than I even remembered. Simple things that maybe add-ons, things we could do. A good example would be podcast topics. I had a system, and then when I started expanding to too many machines, it kind of fell apart. I was using this app on this thing to do it, and then I got over here for a while, and this didn't have this app, and this was you know what I mean? So I started losing my ability to track certain ideas. And what happens is when you can't track your ideas, you can't really come up with the shit that you need in that instant.
Yeah.
Puts a lot of pressure on you in the moment to come up with things. So if I lose, to add on to the, let's say, podcast topics example, if I lose my ability to track podcast topics as I come up with them, what happens next is when it's time to do a podcast, I got to rack my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I got to sit down and really think about what we can talk about. I got to scour through the internet for topics. I got to look on websites, Twitter. What should we talk about? But when I'm actively tracking those topics, recording them, writing them down as they come to me, there is no pressure. I'll be in my car, podcast topic pop in my head, boop, save it to the place I save podcast topics. It's there with every other idea. Then when I need to actually revisit the fucking idea and come up with something, there's no pressure. Oh, I've got 10 ideas, Illogic. We can definitely record on Saturday. Instead of, let me come up with something, dog. Let me think of something. Send me your ideas. It's like I'm losing out on so much creative capital because I'm not tracking it. And it's no different than knowing what's in your fucking bank account.
Yeah.
If you running around and you got a bank account and you think you only got $50 in it, but you got $1,000 under 8 couch cushions, you gonna move differently.
Yeah.
You don't know that you got the money under the couch cushions. You done forgot where you done hid money in your house. So ideas, it's like found money. All I've been doing for the last 2-3 weeks is finding money under the couch cushion. Ideas that I never fucking executed because I never tracked them.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I can actually do that now. Oh, I'm seeing ideas connect to other ideas now. Couldn't do that before. But the key is, number one, putting all these ideas in the same place. What did it look like? It looked like me coming up with the exact same file structure, directory names for every machine first.
Mm-hmm.
Pictures, flyers, social media content, videos, beats, songs, documents, personal documents, Super Duty, ideas, promo. You know what I mean? Like, I have like 10 or 12 folders that I put on every machine, and then I organize the data on every machine first. I just put everything in the bucket first.
Mm-hmm.
Then that allowed me to move everything to one machine. But all it made me see that I wasn't tracking shit. I was just throwing shit in any fucking folder on anything that was kind of had something to do with it. But it didn't allow me to recall it, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can have a document that says Super Duty Tough Work Ideas in your documents folder.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not as powerful as having it on your Google Drive and having it named that. So when you need a Super Duty Tough Work podcast idea, you just type that in and you get a list of 20 fucking things that you've been needing to do. So yeah, not tracking them has been the biggest thing for me. I feel so, on one hand, I feel like a fucking dumbass because I'm like, I didn't know it was this bad. But on the other hand, I feel empowered because I finally see just how many ideas I had that I wasn't tracking, and it actually inspires me.
Yeah, I need to do that. Because I know just song ideas in general, because because I am a person that takes notes, on my phone, back things up to, cloud or whatever, but there's no rhyme or reason to how it's, labeled. I have voice memos in my phone with ideas, with, freestyling, you know what I'm saying, ideas into my phone, but they're just labeled voice memo. So I don't know. I got to go through and see exactly what they are, so I'm sure there's, I told you the other day, I think I told you I have like 4 or 5 terabytes worth of information just sitting around that I haven't gone through and organized. I know there's duplicates in there. I know there's shit that I probably forgot about. I know there's probably songs that I've recorded that I forgot about, beats that I've done that I forgot, all that shit. I know it is 5 terabytes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not counting my laptop,
right?
Which is 1.5 terabytes of shit. Like, so I know, I need to take about a month and go through stuff, organize stuff, get rid of stuff, delete stuff. I mean, shit, my emails are almost full. And I got multiple emails. Multiple email accounts, and most of them are at like 96%, So I need to go through all of my info and really get the shit that I need and get rid of the shit that I don't. But I know I got ideas just sitting around that I didn't forgot about.
Bro.
Album covers. You know what I'm saying? Like photo, you know what I mean? All concepts, all kind of shit.
Yeah, man. It's really is gonna hit you. When you do it, it's gonna be good and bad. You're gonna be like, damn, I'm slipping.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I fit? It's right there.
Mm-hmm.
And two, like you said, like we do have formulas. So when we update our formulas, we can plug some of these ideas into them.
Right.
And they work.
Yeah.
They work. But yeah, that when you do it, you're gonna go through exactly what I'm going through right now. That feeling of, whoa. First, this is a lot of data. This is going to kick your butt for about 2 weeks. Copying stuff over, looking through all the damn duplicates. Okay, finding this. How am I going to say? Okay. Then what you also realize, and what I realized too, is just like, I wasn't naming files for how I search them. So
right.
A good example is like press photos. I got a gang of pictures of me. None of the names of the pictures of me are Blueprint press photo. It's just the default IMG 1081.
Yeah.
Or it'll say me in studio. It won't say what it's really for. So I can't. So it's like that in and of itself just creates confusion. Or somebody, hey, you got a press photo? Yeah, I do. And then I'm spending 20 minutes trying to remember what folder. Are these in studio pics? Are these in live show pics? Who was the name of the guy that sent me that picture? I'm trying to search it because I can't fucking find the shit. Not tracking. Big one. And that is a big reason ideas die. That's number one. Number 2 reason ideas die, which is an offshoot of number 1. Once you get to number 1, you're going to realize that not only were you not tracking them, but you're not organizing them. If you don't have a system for organizing your ideas as you come up with them and putting them into their proper buckets, how are you going to utilize those ideas to further your career? It's like an idea that is somewhere that's not organized don't even exist, really.
Yeah, it doesn't. Because you can't find it. You don't know where it is. You have no idea how to recall it, how to pull it up. No idea.
No, you might as well have not come up with it. What good is a brilliant idea that's tucked away on a hard drive that you don't even know how to find when you need it,
Yeah.
Whether it's a song concept, an art concept, demo, like I found whole ass songs in the last 2 weeks. I was like, I forgot about this song.
Just sitting there.
Yeah. I don't
Just
even
sitting there.
Damn.
Don't even got the beat no more.
Don't got to be no more. Don't remember anything. Like, what happened to this? Wasn't organized. you know, and the organization is something that I'm trying to train myself to do better now. So now as I'm coming up with stuff, so a good example is this podcast. I have to make it to where when I create the assets for this podcast, like the little videos and promo videos and stuff, instead of leaving them on this machine, I gotta upload them to the Google Drive. Then no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I have access to them.
Yeah.
Then they're in the right place with everything else and I can utilize it. You know, something simple is like us not like all the big podcasts, what they do, they actually post old clips of their show too.
I was just thinking that when you were saying that, like, yeah, posting old clips, like
we don't do that.
No, we don't do that at all.
Slipping.
And we got some fire clips.
Yes,
like we got
slipping.
some fire, like old fire episodes, you know.
Slipping by not doing that. And it's like, that is, again, it creates pressure on us to constantly do new shit, come up with new shit, because we're not utilizing our old work that means something. Our old ideas are not being used.
Wasn't that chapter 5 in social media cheat code?
Yeah,
reuse, repurpose.
Yeah, wrote a whole book about that. Yeah, folks. Yep. Not following it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes to show you can know some shit and then you still slip. Slip, you know. In certain aspects, it works for me. In this podcast, we can do such a better job. And this exercise has really showed me that, like, having all these different machines, each with a little piece of this thing, is not effective. Having it all in one place, where every week you do the same thing, and then when you want to recall it, you can recall it. It just creates a better product for us, you know. And if you're not organizing your ideas, you can get discouraged as well.
Yeah,
you can get discouraged as well, you know. And just the feeling of forgetting a song you made is kind of fucked up. And then you're like,
especially if it's dope.
Sick. You be sick. So, you know, ideas die because you're not organizing them. My advice to everybody is, you know, listen to this episode, but then think about yourself. Not only how are you tracking your ideas, but how are you organizing them? Once that idea is saved and on your hard drive, like, are you actually setting it up, putting it with other ideas like it, so you can search it by name, so you can search it by what it is? That's the big thing. Search. You know, if we're ever more connected society, the same way we search Google for what we need, we should look at our own ideas and try to make them searchable to the same degree.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, that's something that brothers got to improve on. And now that I kind of see it and I'm on this path, it's something I want to start doing. So listeners of the podcast, you might start seeing old classic clips of your boys.
Know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? There's a benefit of this for y'all. And so, yeah, we're going to start trying to utilize that more. And so, yeah, there's that. That's number 2. Number 3. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say something with organization for me that's really helped with my beat making when I take samples and labeling them correctly.
Yes.
And also utilizing that naming convention in the beat that I make, using that sample.
Yes.
That way, if I need to remake the sample or if I want to add another piece, or then it's searchable by, hey, you know, Bob James, you know, 8/23/24 or something like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
That way I know where to go, what to find. I'm good with my samples. I got to get better with everything else, but I've developed an organization, you know, with samples and beats a little better.
Yeah. And one references the other, like you're saying. It's not just one thing. So you choose a naming convention and you use it everywhere. This is the name of the sample. Okay, now it has the artist name in it. Now the beat has the same artist name in it, so that if I lose the beat, I can find the sample. If I can't find a sample, I got the beat. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to go back and find it, so I can find the record, which is where it all started. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's very important, man. So my advice, everybody, take a look at that. You know, because you may have a lot of ideas that are just going to waste, and you may not even know. You may get this. Here's what's wild about organizing ideas that just popped into my head. We all go through like hot and cold periods.
Oh yeah, we be on fire.
Yes.
Ideas just coming, just coming.
You know, like I have years where like every idea is just fire, and okay, I'm gonna do that, and it works. But then I have periods where I be cold, man. I can't buy a bucket. I can't hit the side of a bar. You know what I mean? It's like you can't find nothing. But what happens is, if you're organizing your ideas properly, you never appear to be cold to the public.
Yeah, this is a way to avoid writer's block too.
Hello.
You know, write down song concepts, write down opening lines, right? When you're hot, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to write a verse every time you sit down.
Mm-mm.
Write a couple bars, right? You know, and have that tucked away and have those files tucked away to where if you are in a cold period, but you need to write a verse, you can go to those ideas and say, look, I got 4 bars here that I can build off of. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the things that's helped me out with writing, why I never really had the writer's block problem, because I always wrote shit down. You know, physically wrote shit down so I could go to find an opening line. I could go to find 8 bars if I needed something. I could create a hook out of this idea that I wrote down. I hardly ever seemed that I was, you know, had writer's block or that I was cold with writing, especially back in the day, because I always had shit ready.
I can vouch for that. I can confirm everything he's saying, folks. Man, always had bars on deck.
Yeah.
It's true, man. But yeah, you ain't got to depend on that when you have an organization, right? Like you have, okay, I can find these bars that I wrote the other day at work easily.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It may only be 2 bars, but I remember them being good. Where were they at? Okay, boom, this is where I keep all those ideas. Boom, take that, put it in here. Now this whole rhyme starts to come together, you know?
Yep.
You can apply that to anything you do. But yeah, the organization is key. Number 3 reason that good ideas don't come to fruition is too many cooks in the kitchen. What do you mean by this, Brent? By this, I mean, sometimes an idea don't come to fruition because you shared it too early. Because you took it to the public before you developed it.
Now everybody got an opinion.
All right. This is what you should do, man. Look, if it was me, this is how I was freaking, Brent. Yeah. That sounds cool, but what you really should do is get that man over there to do such and such with it, and he does that, and then you can have this thing, and then y'all work with them. Then it'll be tight.
Then you confused after all that. Now you confused. You don't even remember what your original idea was no more.
It's true. People have you all sidetracked. You be all cool. What was I trying to do? He told me I should talk to him. Then was it a good idea, or is it not a good idea without those things? Is it still a good idea without all this extra fucking sauce that everybody are throwing on it? Yes, it's still a good idea. You just fucked up. You just invited too many people into the kitchen too early. You know what I mean? And that will destroy a good idea, man. I think all ideas should be kept to ourselves for a certain amount of time until we can develop them.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is you start asking too many people about it too soon.
Mm-hmm.
And people start giving you their spin on your idea, and your idea becomes something that maybe you can't execute. It seems more complicated than it did when you just came up with it, or you get discouraged questioning whether it's even a good idea.
Yeah.
It's not good. You don't want to invite too many people into the thing early. What you want to do is you come up with an idea, you save it where it's at, where it needs to be saved, and you want to start developing it.
Yeah.
Flesh it out. Expand on it. This is what I thought. Brainstorm about your idea yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And what you invariably find, what I find sometimes is like when you work on an idea yourself the proper way before you share it, you've already worked through every kind of suggestions people are going to throw at you.
Yeah.
You know, man, you should do it such and such. Nah, that costs too much. I already looked at it. Man, you should invite such and such on this. Nah, they're not going to do it. They schedule says that they got this thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what you really should do is add this thing to it. Because if this, that don't make no sense. People don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've already, you know the answers before the people say them. But if you ain't actually developed your idea, what happens is people throw that shit on there and you spend time trying to research this shit. Like, oh man, I should try to do it that way.
Yeah.
No, do it your fucking way. But you got to do the legwork so that you got the confidence in your idea. Because an idea is not the same as a plan.
Right. Right.
Like when you develop your idea, it's a plan at that point. It's executable. It's like, oh, I had this idea. It was very broad and generic.
Mm-hmm.
Then you sat down and wrote and expanded, developed it. It's not an idea anymore.
Right.
It's literally something you can say, I'm going to do this on that day.
Mm-hmm.
It's executable now. You don't need no cooks in the kitchen. You don't need no input. All you need is the will to do it. Maybe some resources and time, but you don't need other people's input. But you got to go through the process of stress testing your idea first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a good example is the Celestial show. I had this idea like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I remember.
I told no one. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first came up with the idea, I was like, yo, I want to do this, 20-year anniversary thing.
Yeah.
Having a live band would be dope. Okay, let me see. Let me see what I can do. I told my cousin.
Yeah.
I think I told Paz. Paz introduced me to Jason from Bertha Hill. Then I started scouting bands. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think I really fleshed out the idea and told you completely until I already had my band ready.
Yeah.
Had the date ready.
Yeah. Well, you announced at the show. I was like, oh shit. You was like, I'm gonna do a 20th anniversary thing at the Falling Down joint.
Yep. So, like I had the date set by then before I even announced it, and before even trying to let people know. Only 3 or 4 people knew about the idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they were helping me scout bands and all that stuff. And once we got the date locked down, that's when everybody else knew. But for about a year and a half, like I had this idea, and like 6 months of that year and a half, only maybe 2 people knew about it, because I was trying to develop and see what I wanted it to become. And I was able to build it with a small group of people instead of having too many cooks in the kitchen, because it was my vision. It was my idea. Because I already had an idea when I came to the people that knew, like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to do it. Let's make it happen. You know what I mean? And it turned out pretty good doing it that way.
Yeah. It's very smart. Because, you don't want to tell people too soon. Like, or even if you mention it, so you got to know that, like, hey, I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to, have no public forum on this idea.
Right.
I am working on it. I am fleshing it out to see if I can pull it off the way that I want to. But too many cooks in the kitchen to kill you. So let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Word.
This is your weekly reminder that we have 2 books that you, as a listener or watcher of this podcast, need to absolutely own. The first is The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists, and the second is The Social Media Cheat Code. Both of these books were released within the last year. The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists is a book where I go through the stories and explain the traits that are behind the success of some of the biggest names in hip hop today. The book has got nothing but amazing feedback. And if you are an artist, business person, whatever you do, if you would like to be inspired and would like to learn more about hip hop along the way, and also see some reinforcement of the concepts that we talk about on this podcast, The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop is for you. Second book is The Social Media Cheat Code. That is for everyone who listens to this podcast who does not consider themselves an expert or really good at social media. It's not for super experienced people. It's actually for people who are on social media but are not getting the results you need. So what we did is I broke down like 12 or 13 strategies that I use all the time that actually work really well for me. I put it into a book. I gave you examples and I tell you how to implement it. That's a book you absolutely need as a listener to this podcast, watcher of this podcast. If you're on YouTube, supporting these books actually goes a long way towards supporting the podcast. So to support the show, if you like what we do, obviously we don't necessarily get paid to do this shit. So support the products and services that we create. And these 2 books are a big part of that. We appreciate your support, and back to the show. What's up, everybody? Got some big news to share with you all today. I'm proud to announce that for the first time, I will be opening up my artist coaching and consulting services to the public. I have been doing it for several years behind the scenes, helping artists and small businesses achieve their goals, but it's never been something that I made publicly available, nor anything that I promoted until now. So, if you're an artist or a small business owner, I'm now available to be booked for one-on-one sessions designed to help you achieve your goals as quickly and as efficiently as possible. If this is something that you're interested in, email me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and we'll get the ball rolling from there. I look forward to working with you all. Peace.
Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint, Illogic. This weekend, we're talking about why ideas don't come to fruition, why they die. And we got 3 bullet points in. We got like 5 joints left. Number 4 reason: no demo. This means that, and it's what you just kind of touched on, you have an idea that sounds great. On paper, it looks good. But the reason you don't execute that idea is because you never tested it. You never did a demo of it. You just let it live in your head on this piece of paper. And you never thought to say, man, before I go down this rabbit hole, before I spend all this money on this idea, or before I give up on this idea, I should try it out at a small level. We demo songs. It shouldn't be hard for a musician to understand the concept of demo. You know, in film, video, you have storyboarding. They write scripts. And scripts and storyboards are subject to change. They have to be approved before they spend millions of dollars on them films. You know, they sit around and they do what they call table readings of scripts, where they get people to play certain roles and they sit there and read it and see how it feels, how it moves. Is it good? Right? We don't do that with our ideas. We should do that with our ideas, right? Our ideas could be like, you could be sitting on $1 million idea that you just never demoed. You just don't fucking know.
Yeah.
You could have tested it out for the low. It could have been an idea that changed the trajectory of your whole fucking career. But because you didn't want to try it that one time to see if you could do it on a smaller scale, or you turn into, you know, a lot of these people, what they turn into, which is like I'll do this when they write me a big check kind of guy. You know, a lot of artists, they have great ideas, but then they sit around and say, well, you know, I'm waiting till I get signed to do that one.
Yeah. Oh, they ain't ready for this yet.
That's too much.
That's too much for
them. I gotta have more fans before I do this idea. You sit around doing that shit instead of just demoing it, trying it on a small level. Maybe it works, maybe it don't. I mean, in real time, I'm trying this right now with like the beat sets I'm doing. Had an idea, you know, I posted beats on my account for, you know, 1 beat at a time, a week for like a year, you know, this whole year. Feedback is good. Maybe I should try to play a longer set. Maybe people will watch it. Maybe, oh, I have this idea of playing some beats in public. It doesn't look like it did when I wrote it on paper. When I wrote it on paper, the idea now is way different. It started there, but it wasn't what it is now with the fucking parks and the fucking drone and the motherfucking, it's different now. The kids playing in the background. It's just a whole different thing. But I couldn't have got there if I didn't try it, you know, and I'm still trying it and refining it. You know, it looks good. It sounds good, but I still have more ideas I can add to it. And that's just one idea that I did not let sit on a hard drive. I was like, I'm going to try this and see what happens. But so many times we have ideas just like that, and we spend too much time on the paper, too much time trying to make it perfect before we move forward with it. You know, an industry that does a great job at this is like the software development industry.
Yeah. Beta
You know,
testing.
beta
you know.
testing, alpha testing, right? They go through the whole thing, right? And a lot of them, they have what they call like a minimum viable product. You know what I mean? Where they'll have like the scaled down basic version of that, what they're trying to do. No bells and whistles, just does the core functions. They'll take that out and they'll take it to people who might be interested in. What do you think it is? Oh, it's great. It doesn't have X, Y, Z. And it's okay, cool. They go back and they write down all the feedback, add it. Okay, how do we add this? How do we do this? Okay, boom. Now our idea evolves. Next iteration. Do it again. Do it again. And see, like, okay, this is a good demo. Do people even want it? Is it something that resonates? If so, I should keep developing it. But you have to understand that ideas need to be developed.
Yeah.
You can't just sit there and be like, oh, I got this idea, and think that it's going to just jump off the page one day, get done, and magically everybody's going to fucking love it. It doesn't work with our music. A lot of artists, their biggest record is not their first record. Their work's in progress. So they have these songs, they have these styles, they have this way of doing music that when they first started, they were kind of finding their way. Everyone heard the potential. They were dope, right? By the time they get to that third, fourth, fifth album, people are like, oh, nah, this is my shit. They figured it out. You know, you're demoing what your ideas are in public now. That's the only difference. Once upon a time, there was no internet, so people wouldn't see this developmental process. You know, now we literally watch artists develop over multiple albums.
Yeah.
You know, we watch them post on social media. Oh, we posted a demo to that one day. Then the shit's done. Oh shit, that's dope. But demoing is a huge part of idea development, and it's not just a musical concept. Large corporations do it. Literally anybody does it. And as you start taking yourself seriously as an artist, saying, oh, I got to spend money to do this. If it's going to cost you money to execute, you better fucking demo that idea.
Yeah. The thing about ideas that people need to understand is that ideas are not one-time use.
Right.
Ideas can be used multiple times in multiple different venues. You can take an idea and apply it to something else that you weren't even meaning it for initially.
Absolutely.
Or if you have an idea and you execute it on a smaller scale, you demo it, you can then go back and improve on it and do that again a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later. You can continue to develop that idea and reuse that idea and continue to improve on that idea until it gets the necessary result that you're looking for. Or if it's a bad idea, you can nix it and move on. You know what I'm saying?
That's key right there. Say that again for the people in the back. Hold on. People in the back. Hey, Illogic got something to tell y'all. Say that again, bro.
Yeah, if it's a bad idea, you just might need to stop and move on. Stop beating your head up against the wall. But if you demo something and you start to see a response, you start to see like things moving in the direction that you want it to go, then it's like, okay, let me add a couple things to this idea.
Yes.
You know, let me expand this idea a little more. Let me apply this idea to this thing. Since it worked over here, it can be applied over here. Let me try it over here.
Right. Right.
And you can continue to develop and move your ideas around, and they don't always have to be stagnant and one-time use. You can keep building on them and keep using them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree. It's so key. Yeah, like sometimes it's okay to say that was a good idea, but it didn't get the response that I wanted.
Yep.
And here's the key too. You'll feel a lot better about admitting that when you have all your ideas at your disposal.
Yeah.
When you don't feel like ideas are scarce.
When you feel like that's your only idea, so it gotta work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Gotta work.
God,
Yeah.
I can't just get this idea up. What else am I
Right.
gonna do? Whereas the people who win, that's just one of many ideas. You're watching them just experiment and see what works. And then when something sticks, that's when they start pouring onto it, you know? But the key is to make sure that you are going through the process of demoing your ideas. Because without doing that, you will never know a good idea from a bad idea. Or you'll never know what good ideas don't have audiences. Because you could have a good idea that just don't have an audience.
Yeah, you got to find them.
Gotta find them. You might have a fucking bad idea that fucking you think is a bad idea, but it fucking works. I don't even like doing this shit, but every time I do it, I go viral.
Yeah.
Every time I do it, the views be crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do
guess
that.
I'll go ahead and do it again.
Yeah, here we go. Let me do it again. Like, why when I do these type of videos? This is the beauty of like the analytics. Because you can kind of see what people are responding to. And sometimes what they respond to is not what you thought they were going to respond to.
Yeah.
You have to just put everything out there and give it an opportunity to show you what it's going to be. So yeah, number 4, no demo. Let's talk about number 5 reason ideas don't come to fruition. This is a big one. This was a lot of people going to have to put their vest on for this one because this is a bazooka right here. That's going to hit a lot of fools in the chest. You know what I mean? This is a flamethrower. I'm about to just come across the room with it, east to west. False accomplishment. A sense of false accomplishment is why most ideas die. What do you mean by that? By that, I mean you celebrate having the idea, not executing it, not trying it. You're one of those people who sits around and says, man, I come up with the dopest ideas. Oh, man. You see somebody do something dope. Man, I've been had the idea to do that several years back.
Yeah.
They not the first one to come up with that. Man, me was talking about this years ago. You see what haters be doing. Haters be saying this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Man, I've been had the idea to do that. That's cool, but man, we was on that years ago. Never did it. They was just on it years ago. Those are people who hang their hat on ideas, not executing. Motherfucker can tell you 10 ways a Sunday how many dope ideas they have. When you look at their career, none of that shit get done. No demos, no execution, nothing. Just sitting around critiquing other people who are actively doing shit saying, man, I had that idea first. Or kicking themselves. Man, I should have did that. I had that. Then they go out into the world and they start seeing someone executing the idea they had 10 years ago. Who's not better than them. Sick.
Yeah.
Don't let it be you.
That's happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
It's happened to me a few times where I've had ideas and, they just sit on the brain, sit on the phone, sit on the laptop. And then you see somebody do it and you're like, damn.
Yeah. You and I talked about the one with like the beat, the behind the beat thing, the beat videos.
Yep.
Yeah. Where you're showing the screens and shit. And I knew you did. Because I was like, this man was right there doing all the pandemic. That's what he was doing. He just never took them and summarized them and released them.
Yeah. Multiple times. So, you will kick yourself.
Yeah.
You will kick yourself. But the key thing is to not get jaded and to understand your mistakes.
Yes.
And know like, okay, I fucked up here. I'm not going to put myself in that position again. I'm not going to do that again to where I have these ideas that I don't demo, that I don't see if they work, and then somebody else do it and then I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm upset with myself like, damn, I should have tried it because it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very key. Because that's kind of leads into the next one because like you're saying, like you have to have a way to say, I have these ideas and I now have a way to execute them. Right. Otherwise you'll always be the guy with good ideas, but no execution.
Yeah.
That's
one of the reasons I bought the Pocket 3 because I got so many ideas, but carrying around my big, T7i camera is, you know what I'm saying? Is not something that I can execute with easily.
Yeah.
So I have a camera that shoots in 4K, that has excellent memory, that, has all of these things that I can utilize because the ideas that I have, a lot of them are mobile. A lot of them are on the move. And, I need some kind of quick and dirty way to shoot them, but still have them look professional and look good.
Yeah.
So having that camera in hand will allow me, because I have a whole bunch of ideas for what I'm going to do next year and, social media shit and all that. but I needed this tool to accomplish those things. So learning how to use it now, it's like, okay, let's go. I'm gonna try some of these things on a small scale and see how they work.
Yeah, same thing. That's why I bought the camera.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. So
Yep.
you know, like when I bought it, I told Mario, I said, Mario, this shit is a game changer. He was like, what? You like? I was like, trust me. I was like, I'm seeing some shit with this that I couldn't do before. You know, and no knock to my bigger cameras, right? Like every camera has a function. There's certain things that I won't replace my M50 with, but no, I feel you on the Pocket 3 because it's like there's certain things that it does that just fit perfectly into creating certain types of content that you can't do easier with any other camera.
Right.
And so when you see that, you're like, oh yeah. I gotta get that tool so that I don't miss out on executing or trying these ideas. You know? Yeah, like as someone who uses it, like, hey, I'm using it right now. You know what I mean? Using it right now, actually. But yeah, no, I feel you, man. But yeah, that false sense of accomplishment is something I want to warn every artist about. Each and every one of you is going to have this temptation to give yourself super props just for coming up with good ideas. Just for being like, oh, I did that first. I said that phrase first. I saw this thing first. I was sampling them types of records first. You know, I was using that piece of gear first. That shit does not fucking matter.
No.
If you don't go out there and execute your ideas, none of that shit you hanging your hat on matters. But you won't know that until you execute your ideas. When you start executing your ideas, you'll start seeing how foolish you was looking, bragging about having an idea.
Right.
Because you're like, oh, it's different on the other side. When I actually do it, that's what I should hang my hat on. That sense of pride never goes away. There's no bitterness there. You know, you could be the first one to have an idea and all it leads you to is bitterness. Because somebody else did it first and did it better. So be careful with the false sense of accomplishment. Number 6, which we just alluded to. Reason ideas die is because you have no system for executing them. No system. By that, what I'm referring to is like going through my these things with consolidating all of my data and my hard drives into one machine. It made me see that I need to, not only do I need to track my ideas, organize them properly, I need to have a system for when it's time to work on that thing, everything is right there in front of me and the ideas are front and center, right? In music, what this looks like is like, for me, I use like iTunes. A lot of people don't like iTunes anymore. I love iTunes because you can do playlists. You can organize songs. You can make little albums and different versions of them and shit like that. I have beats for next album, beats for Illogic playlist, beats for this guy, beats for me, beats for this group, like infinite playlists that when it's time to think about that, I can reference. It's a system now. So as soon as I'm sitting there and let's say I make a beat today and I'm like, man, this sounds like some fucking Illogic shit. Immediately add to playlist. Immediately. I don't think about it. I just add it there. He may not like the shit. Who cares? It's going to be there. So when I'm looking for some shit that sounds like some shit that he would rap to, hey, Print, you got a beat for me? Yes, I do. It's in your inbox. I don't got to search. I don't got to pick up 100 records and just drop the needle. Man, oh, give me a couple days, man. I'll come up with something.
Yeah.
I got to do that. I got a system that automatically every time I create something, it goes in a certain place. And then when I'm looking for that thing, it's one mouse click away. We have to do the same things with all of our creative ideas. We have to have systems not only for creating them, organizing them, but when we're working on that kind of thing, we have access to every idea related to that thing at our fingertips. For me, like I mentioned, it was the putting everything on one machine, having the same file structure, and committing to putting everything in the folder that it's supposed to be in and naming it something that I can search later. That's my system. Being able to search for things as I need them, reference them, and access them. And then I can use them and combine them with whatever the fuck I got going on. But you have to have a system in place that works for you. And your system ain't gonna look like my system. It ain't gonna look like Illogic's. But you gotta have a system that works for you, that allows you to reference your ideas, find them, develop them, and turn them into real things.
Yeah, the biggest problem a lot of people have is that once they get to a point where everything is out of control, taking the time to sit down and track and organize. And you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff. And then after you do all that, then it's like, okay, now I have to come up with a system.
Yes.
To make all of this shit work. You know, to where I have access to all of this shit at my face. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. And it does take a lot of time once you get to that place. But you'll be a lot better for it once you do it. But that's been my hang up, man. I've been talking about organizing my data for years. Yeah. Even before we started having this conversation. Yeah. Like I knew I just buy another hard drive. You know what I'm saying? Like once that shit was full, just buy me another hard drive. Instead of organizing, going through, getting rid of duplicates, freeing up space, all of that shit, getting rid of stuff I don't need, getting rid of stuff, you know what I mean? Consolidating, all of that stuff. Just buy another hard drive. You know, I'll deal with it later. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm, 5 terabytes in, like, damn, I got to organize all of this shit, you know?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it's bad.
You got more shit than I do. I didn't have 5. Well, combined, but like I was able to combine pretty much everything down to about 2 to 2.5. You know, keep like one on my laptop. I got a 2 TB hard drive there. About one of it is used. Rest of it's free, and then I got like the rest is on the cloud. But that took a lot of paring down, deleting. Yeah. So yeah, you got your work cut out for you, brother.
I'm sure after I delete duplicates, that'll probably get rid of at least 1 terabyte there. Easily. Just duplicates. Just duplicates.
Yeah.
Duplicates of beats, you know, duplicates of songs, duplicates of albums, all of that shit.
Yeah. But like the last 2 weeks that what actually got easier due to having a system now is social media. All the posts I made in the last 2 weeks were 10 times easier than they would have been a year ago, because everything I needed to pull from was right there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you need a system. You need a fucking system for executing them. That's number 6. Let's take a break.
Okay, we'll
be right back.
Quick announcement. Over the last several years, we've been asked many times by the listeners of the show if we would ever open it up to the public for advertising. We've always been interested in this, but we never had the systems in place to make it work properly. I'm proud to announce that we are officially accepting advertising from the public on Super Duty Tough Work. Meaning, if you're a small business owner or an artist and you'd like to create more awareness about your product, service, or release on the Super Duty Tough Work podcast, we're now in a position to do that. For more information, email us at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Again, that's superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Email us there. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you would like to promote, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible to let you know if we think it's a good fit and what the next steps are. Thank you for your time. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day.
All right, folks, we back. Super Duty Tough Work. We got 2 more bullet points left before we get y'all out of here. Reason number 7, things do not happen when you want them to happen. Ideas die is no accountability. You don't have anyone or anything that holds you accountable for what you do or don't do creatively. You don't write down your goals to know if you're reaching them. Right? Like you don't write down what you did wrong, how you can improve upon it. And if you don't have anybody else who has expectations of you, there's no accountability.
Yeah.
Sometimes the social aspect of being artists is needed because it creates accountability. Because if you're around a bunch of artists, hey, what you working on, man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The $1 million question. What are you working on right now? I'm working on this big giant thing right here. Oh man, that's awesome, man. When you gonna do it? I don't know, man. I'm just working. Okay. The next time you see him, hey man, how's that project coming? Logic?
Yep.
Well, what had happened was, dog ate my homework. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You come with all types of excuses now. Then you don't want to be social because you ain't got nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
Start feeling bad. Everybody else who was telling you about their projects, they shit dropping is happening. You over there don't want to show your face because you don't want to deal with not being accountable. People say, man, you better put that fucking project out. You better stop playing. You better write that thing. You better create that thing. Execute that idea. It was a great idea. Accountability is why a lot of ideas die, man. They die because we don't want to be accountable to the level that we have to be to execute them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, this one of those things, like this is the opposite of too many cooks in the kitchen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be a few people
Yes.
that you talk to about your ideas. I mean, me and you bounce ideas off of each other all of the time.
Yes.
Yes. And that way, if we don't do something or we do something, we see like, oh yeah, we talked about that last year. Now it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Or if we ain't done it, we might hit each other. Yeah, whatever happened to that one thing you mentioned? You know what I'm saying? Why ain't this, and then we get that feedback. But having at least one or two people, that you can tell your ideas to, that you can talk to about the things, and that will be honest with you and let you know if it's a good idea or it's a bad idea, or you can even demo it with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And have your demo and like, yo, I have this idea. Check this thing out. What do you think? You know what I'm saying? And they'll be honest with you. Have somebody that'll be honest with you and tell you if shit works or if it doesn't. If you should continue to build on it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you have to have a small circle of people that you can talk to about certain things, because otherwise you'll be on this island. The people, if you ask me, the artists that I've talked to the most who are most unhappy and whose stuff doesn't come out the most are the artists who are kind of on islands.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really hang out build with other artists. They're really talented, but their social skills or their social circle in this shit is very limited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because they don't embrace the social aspect, they never put anything together. They just drift. They kind of just drift, Whereas like you're saying, if you're in a crew with somebody or you're friends with somebody who's also an artist, they're going to be on your ass about things that you're not finishing.
Yep.
Like they know how much time you got. They know when you bullshitting. Like, stop bullshitting.
Yep.
You should have been at that done. I don't want to hear that shit. Do it. Whereas I think some people, they don't want to do the social thing because they know accountability comes with it.
Yeah.
That's number 7. Last bullet point of the evening. Last donut of the night. The reason your ideas don't come to fruition is because you have no grit. You have no fight. You have no dog in you.
That might hurt some people's feelings. Try to say it's my fault, Britt. It's on me.
It's gonna hurt some feelings, but it's the truth. You don't have no dog in you. You got cat in you. In fact, a cat got more dog in you than you got in you. You got mouse in you. You got lamb in you.
Gazelle.
You got that gazelle in you. You got that sheep. You be running. Your instinct is to run immediately. You ain't got no fight in you. You ain't got no dog in you. You know why I know some of y'all ain't got no dog in you? Because soon as something small happen, you start bitching, you start complaining, and you basically give up.
Yep. Oh, it wasn't a good idea anyway.
Yeah, you get stopped by things that don't even cost you hardly no money.
Mm.
The principle of having to do it, to having to invest in it, makes you give up, right? It's like you go on tour and you get a flat tire and you just turn around and go home.
Mm.
$100 tire. That's the shit that breaks your back. I don't have a good mic, Brent. You can get a fucking one of these for $99. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. SoundCloud is free. I don't want to hear it. Twitter is free. Have any of you fools ever heard of Wallow 267? This man spent 20 years in prison, got out, and became a millionaire using this thing only. He woke up every day and recorded inspirational, motivational videos on his fucking cell phone. And then he would post those on Instagram. And then people started spreading them. He was inspiring people. He had a beat up track phone that he got out. He was living with his grandmama. Wallow is a multimillionaire. Him and Gilly's podcast is the most popular podcast out there right now. $1 million worth of game. Wallow is he's now a best-selling author. He just dropped a book. This man spent 20 years in prison for attempted murder at the age of 17, 18. He was in there like, when I get out of here, I'm going to make it happen. Changed his mindset. He don't have no excuses. He got that dog in him.
Yeah.
He got that fight in him. A lot of y'all don't want to admit it, but y'all ain't got it in you. Your ideas are cool, but because you are soft as hell, your shit will never see the light of day. And until you understand that ain't nobody gonna give you shit, that every idea needs to be fought for in order to be executed, that every idea has to be developed enough to be bought into, that every idea has to be executed repeatedly enough for people to buy in and subscribe to, that you don't deserve shit, you ain't gonna get shit, and you ain't gonna get that far because you ain't got no dog in you, man. I hate to say it. I know it's gonna hurt some people listening to this. Shit, the people, if you listen to this, you probably got some dog in you. A lot of people who ain't listening is probably the ones need to hear this.
Right. The ones listening, at least trying to get some game.
Right, you trying to get some dog, and you in the right place.
Yeah.
You know, it's the people who don't listen to this need to hear this.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have no dog in you until you have like you give up. I like the motherfuckers who just don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
I say it all the time, man. I like working with intense people.
Yeah.
Intense people. I like the kind of people who just like, they get fucking passionate about their music. They get passionate about being fucking on point.
Mm-hmm.
They make a mistake. They just like, fuck. You know, like people be like, yo, man, Brent, man, how do you manage when you go on tour and you do this? You have a bass player and a DJ. How do you manage them and do this? I say, I don't have to manage them because I pick people who are intense.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell them if they did a good job on stage. They fucking know.
Yeah.
They know.
And if they don't, then they pissed.
Yes.
I don't got to be mad at them. They mad at themselves. They already know what they fucked up.
So much pride in their work. You ain't got to tell them when they fuck up. Hey, they'll tell you, man, I fucked up that such and such thing on that last take. Can we do that again?
Yeah.
Let's do that again. Okay.
You might not even notice.
Didn't even catch it.
You might not even notice. Yeah.
Bro, these are the kind of people who will argue over being better, not argue over why we should do less.
Mm-hmm.
These are the kind of people you need to be around. And if you're not around these kind of people, you likely are not driven. You don't have no dog, because I see people like that, I'm attracted to it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like that. You know? Ghostface, man, we want it so bad, we might cry. Yeah. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, a whole career, we want that shit so fucking bad. A lot of people was just as talented as us.
Yeah.
They had a dog in them, though.
Yeah.
They want to do what we did.
Yeah.
They
First tour go bad, they quit.
They quit.
You know, album don't sell that many they quit.
They quit. Damn. Yeah. That's why you see all these artists out here threatening to quit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They want to quit rapping. They want to quit social media. They want to quit playing shows because people wasn't paying attention to them when they was on stage.
Yeah.
So what? Or they went out with this big act, and then they got to open in the crowd. The crowd wasn't kissing their ass.
Mm-hmm.
They sat there in silence while they played, and they want to quit and cry and bitch. I ain't doing that ever again. Cause you ain't got no dog in you.
Yeah.
That shit should make you feel alive.
Yeah, it should. It straight up should.
People don't understand. Like, you shouldn't even want to go to sleep every night.
Mm-hmm.
Your biggest complaint as an artist should be, I ain't got enough time in the day to do the shit I want to do.
Yep. That's my complaint.
When you get to that point, you know you got some grit. You know you got some fight. You know you got some dog in you. Meaning the only thing stopping you is just, you know that you'll physically pass out if you don't sleep for 5-6 hours a night. You will be dead the next day.
Right.
It's unhealthy to work to the extent that you want to work, but you be wanting to do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I be like, Al, if you don't go to sleep,
Yeah.
you taking years off your life, my man.
Yeah.
But if it's up to me, I wouldn't sleep at all. I wouldn't. I don't care what nobody say. All that fucking life, work, balance shit. Don't matter if you love doing the shit. You would stay up all night doing it. That's my problem. I love doing the shit.
Mm-hmm.
But ain't nobody ever questioned my will. Nobody ever questioned my grit, my fight. Ever. It's never been questioned. Is he going to do what it takes? Psh, nah, we start there.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to kill himself?
Sleep?
Yeah, is he going to sleep? That's the question.
Yeah.
Is he going to
rest?
die doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell Prince to go take a nap.
Right, that's what it is. He's doing. Does he ever take a vacation?
Mm-hmm.
That's when you know you got some fucking fight in you. I hate to. This is a very long rant, and it's been a minute since I went on one of these. But I have to say it because we talk about ideas, and sometimes a good idea is with a weak motherfucker.
That's a bar.
Strong ideas with weak people.
Yeah.
What good is it? It's not a strong idea if it's with a weak motherfucker who ain't committed to doing it or seeing it through. You got to become as strong as your ideas. If you're not as strong as your ideas, you're wasting your time and everybody else's. Come back when you have the fortitude to execute your ideas to the level that they deserve to be executed to. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
God bless you. Good night. I'm here all week, folks. That's it this week, man. That's it. I ain't got nothing to say unless you want to add something to that.
Nah, I ain't got nothing to add to that. You nail in the coffin. It's all good.
All right. Let me read these back. Number 1, not tracking them. Number 2, not organizing them. Number 3, too many cooks in the kitchen. Number 4, no demo. Number 5, false sense of accomplishment. Number 6, no system. Number 7, no accountability. Number 8, no grit, no fight, no dog in you. That's it for this week. I hope this inspires some of you to execute your ideas. We are trying to do the same thing. Some of our ideas work, sometimes they don't, but we trying just like y'all. And sometimes we need to talk about these things publicly so that we know what we're capable of. I hope this has inspired some of y'all, and we'll see y'all next week.
Word. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work.